Hello and welcome to my channel. So in this video, I'm going to be doing a tarot reading for the week ahead, and I'm also going to talk a bit about the astrology before we get into the reading. Sorry, my hair looks my hair looks massive today. Wow. Hello. Sorry, it's such a strange start to the video. So let me start again. So talking about the astrology before we get into the reading. So we have some pretty awesome astrology and I'm very excited about. So first of all, we've got Monday today. So we are going into Gemini season today, which I am feeling so much. I am a Gemini, so I'm you know anything about Gemini, it's very chatty, very talkative, very air, mutable air. So mutable air is very quick. It's very fluid. It's not very grounded, let's say, and we might be feeling a lot more of this kind of ungrounded sort of energy. That can be the case with air signs, and particularly when it's mutable, because mutable is the more flexible, adaptable of the signs. So you have fixed, you have mutable, you have cardinal, and mutables are always a bit more like flexible, right? Each element has a mutable sign, if you like. So you know, if that makes sense. So you've got like air sign has a mutable, fire signs has a mutable, earth and water all have a mutable sign. So lots of flexibility, lots of change, lots of change. Again, more change, more change. So we've got that to kick off the week ahead. And then the big ones, so there is actually quite a lot of astrology, but the big ones we've got on the 23rd. So the 23rd, we've got the full moon in Sagittarius. So full moons are always quite big energy anyway. And Sagittarius is also a big energy. So Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of like excess, as I think of it. Big, larger than life, jovial, optimistic, loud. So full moon and Sagittarius, big sort of energy we're talking. But then also on the same day, we've got Venus and Jupiter conjuncting. So that means they come together and they're sitting right next to each other in the sign of Taurus. So this is, for some people, they're saying it's like the luckiest day of the year. I don't know if I quite see it like that, but it's certainly a lovely energy to work with because we've got Venus and Jupiter, which are both considered benefic planets. So really like helpful. But Venus is the planet of love, beauty, pleasure, joy. Jupiter, again, like we just talked about, it's like benefic, it's large, it's abundance, it's prosperity, but it's also long-term planning. So the interesting thing about this combination of this full moon and this conjunction happening on the same day is that they're sort of a little bit at odds with each other, because full moons are often about releasing and letting go of what's not serving us. So we do the new moon, which is about setting intentions and setting, planting seeds and all that kind of stuff. And then we go to the full moon and we look back and we go, what are we still holding on to that actually got in the way of what was important to us? That's what full moons are really good for. So we do like fire ceremonies to release and clear away things. But with this Venus and Jupiter conjunction, that is also a very good time for planting seeds around prosperity, around love, around what brings us joy, around very Venus and Jupiter oriented, what am I trying to say there? Things that are associated with both Venus and Jupiter, like this planting seeds in that like domain, if you like. And you could get even more specific if you knew where Taurus was in your house, like what house Taurus sits in. So that can also help in terms of like having more luck in that area of your chart. So look to your rising sign and you can see, you can go on astro.com and find out where Taurus sits and what house it sits in. You could get a bit more specific there. So that's the other really, really big one. And I think Thursday is going to be like an exciting day. But you really use that day to plant seeds, which again is a bit weird for a full moon day, but you could also do full moon stuff as well. So whatever you feel most drawn to as well, I would suggest there. But use Thursday's astrology. I would say that's really, really good idea. And then on the 25th, actually before that, on the 23rd, what also happened, which is another thing, Venus is in Taurus with Jupiter, and then it moves into Gemini on the same day. So like just later on the day, so it's right at the very end, and it moves into Gemini. So we're going to get more Gemini infusion this week. And then Jupiter then moves into Gemini on the 25th. So they're right at the very end of Taurus. So it's the last little bits. We've just wrapped up Taurus season, and now it's all about Gemini. So looking again where Gemini sits in your chart, like what house it sits in. And then also I would encourage you to like think about things that are more sort of Gemini like traits. I actually might do a video on Gemini season and how we can like work this energy and stuff, because it's such a different feeling to Taurus. So just kind of moving into that. And for those who have Gemini placements, Jupiter going into Gemini is a really, really big thing. So it's big for everybody because it's a huge change. Jupiter stays in a sign for a very long time. And when it changes, everyone feels that. But especially if you've got Sun in Gemini, Moon, Rising, even Venus and Mars and other planets in Gemini, you get a bit more of a boost. Now, I would say that Jupiter in Gemini isn't in its most comfortable position. It's in its exile. So you have domicile, which is its home, and then exile, which is its opposition. So in its home is Sagittarius, and in its exile is Gemini. So it can be, with Jupiter being so big and loud and kind of like excessive, and Gemini being also very analytical, it's all ruled by like the mind. Like, well, Mercury rules Gemini, so it's very much about the mind, very much about communication, as you can see right now, because I'm like, oh. So with both of these together, it can feel a little bit like overwhelming, but it's still going to be a huge shift that's going to be really important for everybody to kind of like adapt to this new transition, this new transit. So without further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into the week ahead tarot reading using Aleister Crowley's Thoth Deck, as always, although at some point I might use a different deck, but we shall see. Today I'm going to use this one. And if you like this deck, this will be in the description below. So let's get into it, shall we? So what are the energies at the beginning of the week? I'm going to do it slightly differently. Beginning of the week for the collective, please. Oh, that nearly came out there. It didn't though. All right. No, that's two cards. No. Okay, it is that one. Did you see that? Okay. The middle of the week, please. I'll show you them in a second. Ooh, I love that. That's great. And towards the end of the week, collective energies, please. Okay, two came out there. I'll keep the two. Feels like they both want to come out. Okay, so beginning of the week, here we have Queen of Swords. Getting clear on what is important to us. Yeah, that feels really important. Getting clear on what matters, cutting away all of the noise, all of the nonsense is what I'm hearing, interestingly, and using our logic and like, what's the word? Like, it's more about the head rather than the heart. So like getting clear and making decisions. It feels like it's asking us to make decisions at the beginning of the week. So making some decisions. Okay. Then the one that I really like, middle of the week, here we've got Three of Cups, abundance, which makes so much sense, right? Because middle of the week is where we've got this Venus-Jupiter conjunction. So I feel like it's really asking us to like, what does abundance look like for you? Getting very clear on what abundance looks like, and then calling that in, planting the seeds, doing some kind of ritual, calling in abundance, and like embodying the energy of someone who is already abundant. Because I feel like when it comes to abundance and calling in more abundance, so let's say it's financial abundance, it doesn't have to be financial, it can be all sorts of things. but let's say it is, we need to kind of embody the energy of someone who already has financial abundance, like it's already here, in order to magnetize more of it. So it's about embodying whatever abundance looks like for you, or what kind of abundance you're trying to call in, and really just being in that kind of frequency. Okay. And then towards the end of the week, we've got Princess of Cups and Ace of Discs. And I love this so much because something that's been really coming through is like new beginnings. And with this, talking about planting seeds, we've got Ace of Discs. So the beginnings, the planting of the seeds of something in your physical world. So that could be money. We were just talking about money. It could be a new job, a new business, new career, new home. So something around bringing in, calling in something in your physical world. And then with the Princess of Cups here, it's giving me very sort of like creative energy and feminine energy. So like, again, maybe embodying this more like gentler way of being. Like, it feels like, honestly, why this is here is like, we need to be in an energy of like gentleness, and not like, it's not so much about pushing to make stuff happen, new beginnings. It's more about like receiving, being the receiver of all of the opportunities and being open to receive. I feel like this week is really asking us to be open to receive. Like Venus really understands this really well. And then also like with Jupiter, Jupiter wants long-term plans. Like think of Jupiter as like your grandfather who's had loads of wealth. I always think like Jupiter to me because I communicate with Jupiter. And whenever I'm communicating with Jupiter, it feels like he's like the grandfather who like wants these grandchildren to do well. But he's like, but you need a plan. You do need to have some stuff sorted out. It's not quick wins. It's like the long-term game, investing in something that takes a long time to like come to fruition. Like it's not so much about I want this now. It's like, what am I planting now for the future? What is it that I want to call in that I need to start planning now, but not needing the quick win? I keep saying that because it feels important to say that Jupiter's not about quick, it's about long term. So you said, like, again, to put this into an example, let's say, you decided to actually invest money and you wanted to set up, like a stocks and shares ISA or something. You'd start putting money in today, but you wouldn't expect to see the return on day one. You keep putting money in and it accumulates, and then eventually you see the yield, right? It's that kind of energy. So that's what this week's really asking of us. And I will do another video on this sort of transit and stuff as well, because it's huge. It's the biggie. Okay, so what are some potential challenges for the week ahead, please? For the collective, for those watching. And one more, please. It's interesting. Huh? Oh gosh, okay. A few fell out there. That's interesting. So actually we've got three, but I feel like all three want to be here. So the first one that came out is Princess of Swords. So this is interesting because we do also have the Queen of Swords here. And it's asking us to make decisions. And it might be that it's challenge. Yeah, okay, this this makes sense now. Okay, so actually, there's a need here to be clear about things, but we might find it hard. And it feels like to me, it's because maybe we have a lot of options. It's like, because we've got here also the Ten of Wands. Ten of Wands is like having a lot of things going on, maybe taking too much responsibility. I always think when I pull this card, it's like, where are we taking too much responsibility and holding on to unnecessary stress? It's called oppression. Where are we oppressing ourselves? It's always the invitation to be like, where am I making this harder than it needs to be? Because I'm very guilty of this, which I think I've mentioned several times now. And we've also got here the Five of Wands, strife, which to me, so this card often represents like conflict and fights, but I often get inner conflict. So yeah, so here, okay, this is starting to paint a bit of a picture. So here we've got, it might be difficult to make some decisions because we've got so many things and so many options. And there's all of this, like, I could do this, I could do that, I could do the other. And it's creating some inner conflict. For some of you, I think that will really resonate, where it feels like things are really busy and they have been for some time. You've got so many options that you might feel a little bit like overwhelmed by all of the possibility. So yeah, that's an energy to really look out for. I feel like there's more to say on that, but let's just pull some more cards first. So looking at the best part. Oh, there we go. Oh, yes. Oh, could you even get a better card? 10 of discs, wealth. Wealth. So I feel like for some of you, it's that you're really going to see some wealth coming in this week, like whether that's like more money coming in, it could be more opportunities coming in for wealth, or it could just be this feeling of like satisfaction with the work that you are doing, and you're starting to really see things come to fruition. It's a 10, right? So 10 of discs is like the end, and it's sort of saying you could really see, like, I'm really picturing just like, I'm actually picturing like the King of Pentacles, which is like sitting on the throne and just looking around all of his riches and just being like, I made all this happen. Like, I am so proud of how far I have come. And I really feel like we're going to, like, you, for some of us, we've been working really hard and you're really seeing the fruits of the labor this week. And it's all like really coming together. It's all, come to this point now, and like a cumulative sort of a feeling. Yeah. So it's kind of like you've got to a certain point, and now it's like, for some of you, what's the next step? Because we do have this Ace of Discs here. And we've got abundance and wealth. Oof, yeah. Oh my gosh, so much luck. But yeah, it feels like it could also be quite overwhelming. But because there's too much choice, which is not a bad thing, right? Anyway. Interesting. Okay, so how to navigate this energy, how to guide it for the, oh, hello. I knew this was going to come up. Oh my gosh. Do you know, I love it when that happens. Okay. 8 of Swords. Now, the reason I felt this card so much is because this is the Jupiter in Gemini card. Hopefully you can see that. So as we were talking about at the beginning, Jupiter is going into Gemini this week. There's loads of Gemini energy this week as of today. It's Monday today. So it feels like, again, like I was talking about at the beginning, Jupiter in Gemini, start that again, isn't, as you can see from the card, it's not a very comfortable place. This is like a card signifying overwhelm. I always think that's what this card is really speaking to when I pull this card. I'm having interfering thoughts, getting in the what if, like, what if it doesn't work out? What if I can't do this? Like, and creating your own sort of like mental prison is what I really get from this, because actually from like traditional tarot, the Rider-Waite deck, it is a person who's blindfolded like this. Well, not like this, but it's got a blindfold. And they're surrounded by swords. It's like a prison of their own making. The swords aren't really there. It's just they've created a prison. So it feels like we need to really sort of like do what we can to ground ourselves, because it is an ungrounding energy. We've got so much swords and wands here. We do have a little bit of earth as well, obviously with the beginnings here and accumulation of wealth. Lovely. But yeah, there is quite a lot of potential for feeling overwhelmed with stuff, feeling busy. Interesting. So I am going to pull some more cards from the Angel Guide Oracle by Kyle Gray to get just a little bit more guidance for this week ahead. I have to say though, I do love this energy a lot. I'm very happy about it. yeah, fruits of your labor, seeing the fruits of your labor this week. Oh, hello. Few too many fell out. All right. Okay, so that's one. I'll pull a few more. Gosh, another one. Guidance. Oh, God, there's so many to come out. Okay, so first one we got here, guardian angel, calling upon help. So with all of this sort of overwhelm, it could feel like you're a bit alone. Some of you, I think it feels like you are carrying this energy. And I always think with this energy, so not only is it sort of like, where are we oppressing ourselves, but it's also like, where are we taking on unnecessary burdens, if that makes sense? So as in like, where are we holding too many of the ones where we could actually outsource some of this stuff, like not taking too much responsibility, not doing too many things where we could actually, it's like, it feels like it's stubborn sort of like, no, I can do it all myself. It's like, but why? Like getting support, getting some help, calling on your spirit team, and connecting with your angels if you work with angels. If angels doesn't resonate with you, whatever you do connect to, I often work with planets. I work with my own intuition and guides. Okay, so there's that. And then we've also got here courage and bravery, which I'm not super surprised to see. So even though it's not come up too much in this reading, we did just have yesterday on Sunday Mars conjuncting the North Node. So Mars, planet of courage, planet of bravery, planet of like being bold and taking the first step, and conjuncting with the North Node is quite challenging, not in a bad way. It can be quite challenging just because the North Node is pushing us towards something that is unfamiliar. The North Node is our soul purpose, what we're going towards in this lifetime, but it's also the part of our like chart where we are unfamiliar, that we don't know very well. So that is going to require stepping into the unknown. So there is some unknown stuff coming up this week of just like trusting your intuition, trusting where you're being led, listening to the guidance, calling upon your team, and then taking the courageous, brave steps. And what is sort of jumping out to me as well is this shield here of like, just protecting yourself as well. Like there's something here about just like not revealing things to people that don't get it, if that makes sense. Like just keeping your circle kind of small and just sharing with people that you can be vulnerable with that aren't going to throw it back in your face, if that makes sense. I don't know why that feels like an important message, like not being like vulnerable with people that can't hold it, if that makes sense. And then here intuition and downloads. So actually I didn't even realize that I realized I pulled it, but I'd forgotten that this had come out. So like I was saying before, there is something here about like the synchronicities, like you'll see like following nudges. So like, for example, you might be like, I need to message this person, and you like just do it. Like just those little nudges you get. I often get voices, like I have sort of like clairaudience where like I get a voice that tells me to do something, and it might be a really good time this week to connect to your own spiritual practices to help you connect more to your own intuition, so that you can actually like listen to this guidance. Something that has also been crossing my mind, and speaking of nudges, is if this is something that you would like to know how to do better, let me know in the comments, because I think I'm going to be talking about this with Claire. Claire Thackeray, for those of you who don't know, she is also a tarot reader and she's amazing. I love her so much. Want to sing a little song about her. And I think we're going to be talking more about that stuff at some point in June, I think. No dates are confirmed just yet. But yeah, if that's something that you want to learn more about, we'll be talking about it there. Another thing that I'm also thinking about doing, in fact, I am going to do, is a video on shadow work. So I did a full moon in Scorpio reading when it was full moon in Scorpio, like last month. And I talked about shadow work there. And I had a few of you quite interested in learning how to do shadow work or just talking more about it. So if you have any questions about shadow work, I realize it's not to do with this reading, but if you have any questions to do with shadow work specifically, then that will help me to help you better. So pop that in the comments below if there's any questions you have that you would like me to go over when I get into doing this video about shadow work, so I can help you better. So I won't talk about that too much right now because that's not for the purpose of this reading. But yeah, for those two things, if you want to learn more about intuition, ask me questions about that. And if you want to know more about shadow work, ask me about that as well in the comments below. As for this week, yes, really, really exciting. Like, so much good stuff coming in. Really like wanting to use this energy, use Thursday in particular, I would say. Try and mark it out in your calendar if you can. Something I've also been thinking about in terms of calling that I've had is actually potentially doing some rituals around this with you. So if you wanted to do sort of like, you know, let's say it's full moon ritual or new moon ritual, and like actually guiding through that process, if that's something you would be interested in as well, pop it in the comments below, because again, if I get enough interest in it, it might be something that I launch and do with you guys, because I know it's easy to say let's do, you know, full moon, but if you feel a bit stuck around that, or you're not sure what to do, or you want someone to guide you through that, then that's something that I could absolutely look at. But yeah, just see if there's some interest in that, I suppose. So thank you so much for watching that. I hope that was helpful, insightful, inspiring. I feel very inspired. And I will see you all on the next one. Oh, and before I go, as always, liking, commenting, subscribing, all of that stuff really helps the channel grow, and it, yeah, allows me to help you even more. So thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.